What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you stopping by, spending a few minutes of your time here with me today. I wanted to share with you guys some experiences that I've been having recently. I want to share with you some of the thoughts that I've been having recently in regards to these experiences, and I'm curious to know if any of you can relate. If any of this makes sense, if you can relate to what I'm talking about, please let me know in the comments below. So there's this very strange phenomenon I've begun to experience, that I've begun to become aware of in my reality, in my life, okay? And it's sort of in regards to focus, my focus, what I'm focusing on, and how what I'm focusing on in the moment is influencing my reality, influencing my life, okay? But this is going to be a weird video, so I hope you're ready for that. Anyway, yeah, so in this context, and what I'm trying to say to you, focus is like whatever I am actively pursuing as far as a goal of learning. When I am actively engaged in the process of learning new information that genuinely interests me, then this has some strange effect on my reality, okay? And let me just give you an example, okay? So a few nights ago, I sort of went down a rabbit hole concerning the brain, and specifically the left and right hemispheres of the brain and how they're communicating. How are they similar? In what ways are they different, right? You've probably heard people sort of generalize or characterize other people based on certain personality traits. They will call them left brain or right brain dominant individuals, psychologically speaking, or perhaps even politically speaking. You might have heard this dichotomy between left and right brain people. Well, there are some truths in this as far as our biologic nature is concerned, as far as our anatomical structure is concerned with our brain, right? Our brain is separated into two distinct hemispheres, the left and the right brain hemispheres. And sorry about that. And each hemisphere seems to communicate information in different ways, okay? It also seems that each hemisphere is unique in the way that it processes information, right? Almost as if they're two separate entities that are in communication or in miscommunication with each other. And the idea is sort of that some of us get locked into a left brain mode, some of us get locked into a right brain mode, and the objective is to achieve some sort of balance, some sort of hemispheric syncing to make us whole, to allow us to be a more unified and integrated human being, where we are using both our logical, rational, analytical mind and our intuitive, emotional, interpretive mind, okay? Almost like the merging of science and religion, but within ourselves, embodied within this universe, right? It's a cool thing. So anyway, I'm sorry. I got interested in this. I started researching this. I started reading scholarly research articles describing different types of brain damage to the brain in certain areas, and the effects that this had specifically as far as communication is concerned, as far as language is concerned, okay? So that's oddly specific perhaps, but I'm very interested in this, and then I started watching Star Wars. So this is where it gets kind of weird, okay? So try to stick with me. I'm just letting you know, this is my focus on the brain. Then I started watching Star Wars. So if you can paint this picture in your mind, imagine me sitting on the couch. I'm watching Star Wars. Star Wars is happening in my immediate field of vision. Yet, a part of my mind is still focused on the research paper I was just reading. I'm still processing a lot of that information. It was a lot. I'm going to put a link in the description here just in case you want to click on it and check it out. It's pretty interesting stuff. But so I was still processing a lot of this information. So on the side, even though I'm looking at Star Wars, on the side, sort of imagine these cloud bubbles of thought. And here is like the brain and the research paper, the left and right hemispheres of the paper. That's what I'm focusing on somewhere while I'm watching Star Wars. And the most amazing thing begins to happen. I am attracted to two characters from the Star Wars universe, namely C-3PO and R2-D2. And in my imagination, I begin to imagine C-3PO as the left hemisphere of the brain and R2-D2 as the right hemisphere of the brain. And the analogy actually works quite well. Unfortunately, like all analogies, they will break down upon themselves. At some point, the analogy will fall apart and it won't work anymore in accordance with reality. So you can only take an analogy so far. But my imagination allowed me to imagine C-3PO and R2-D2 as different hemispheres of the brain. And I got to watch them interact in real life. And I got some real experiential ideas from this. Some insightful ideas. Some of that information that I have been processing in the background started to click and fall into place and make sense for me. And I was like, wow, dude, that's really interesting. Right? Because like the left brain hemisphere has large influence. It is responsible for the production of language. Okay, and C-3PO can communicate in over 7 million different languages throughout the universe, including speaking to R2-D2. Now, the right side, the right hemisphere of our brain does not have a center dedicated to the production of language. It has no voice of its own. It has no language like that. No actual language. The way it communicates is more imagistically. It communicates in images, exactly like R2-D2 with his little holographic thing, right? Now, C-3PO and R2-D2, they are often seen together on odd adventures in the universe that end up truly saving the entire universe, the entire galaxy. They save the day and it goes unnoticed, and they're always together doing it. They form this sort of like perfect team, but they don't know it. They're always bickering and they're always arguing, just like the left and right hemisphere of the brain. Okay? And it's very strange to me, this idea, this focus. Now, I'll tell you another way that this focus is very strange, okay? So, a year or two ago, I was diagnosed with hepatitis C, okay? Now, at the time when I received the diagnosis, I had already had hepatitis C for what must have been 8 to 10 years. What prompted the initial doctor visit where I got diagnosed was because I was experiencing some things I wasn't used to, like these extreme, debilitating headaches. They would just come and go, a flash, but it was so bad, so painful, right? Sometimes I would be like lethargic, fatigued. I would feel like I'm about to pass out. My appetite was always fluctuating. My weight was always fluctuating. And I just felt a little off. And my wife talked me into going to the doctor to get some routine blood work done. And it turns out that I had hepatitis C. When the doctor told me I had hepatitis C, a memory came to mind. And I could remember exactly when I contracted the virus. And it hit me hard. Okay? I felt the tears coming to my eyes. I had that lump in my throat, and the doctor saw it. She came over, put her hand on my arm and said, listen, Zach, don't let this get you down, okay? We've come a long way with medicine. She started trying to comfort me. She could tell that it hit me hard, right? And she gave me a lot of information. She was talking to me, telling me a lot of things, and it was important to me. Like I was listening to her, like my life depended on it, because my life depended on it. Now, hepatitis C became a focus for me, right? I was thinking about it. Even on the ride home when I left the doctor's office, I started to experience pain in the region of my body where my liver would be located that I had never experienced before. It was almost as if because I had been made acutely aware of this problem in my body, this virus, the symptoms were magnified. Even perhaps new symptoms began to take place that I that weren't even happening. It's like I'm manifesting, I'm making it happen because I'm focusing on it. The next couple of days, I was doing all sorts of research, reading all sorts of scary things online, right? And the symptoms started to increase and get worse. My headaches were worse and I couldn't take it. And I was like, dang, I've got to change my focus, bro. I've got to start laughing again. I got to start getting back outside. I've got to do things that I enjoy, and I've got to do what's necessary about the hepatitis C. I've got to pursue these options for treatment, these options for medications, and see what I can make happen. I've got to do that, but I've still got to live my life, right? I've still got to focus on what's important. I got to be involved with my family. I can't allow myself to fall down this deep, dark rabbit hole of hepatitis C that I'm reading online. I've got to overcome this. Heal thyself, Zach. Heal thyself. And that's what I did. I don't have hepatitis C. Not anymore. Right? But this is an amazing thing. Our focus determines our reality. That's a quote that I'm bringing to you. Our focus determines our reality. I bet you can guess. But put it in the comments if you know where that quote is from for the people, okay? Put that in the comments. Anyway, man, until next time, I hope you continue to free your mind.